Hello everyone, and welcome to the soft reboot of Chirps Reviews. My name is Chirp, and to kick off some indie game reviews, we're starting with Roguematch. This is a cute little roguelite game. It promises to combine match 3 gameplay with dungeon crawling, which isn't a completely new concept, but still pretty novel outside of the gacha sphere. There's an additional element of character positioning that I haven't seen before, but it's not like I'm super versed on the genre, and someone will probably prove me wrong in the comments, but the art is super cute, almost like a colored pencil style. Reminds me a bit of Ken Sugimori's style of shading from back in the old Pokemon cards and such. The base mechanics involve matching 3 of the same colored gems. Depending on their color, you do damage to foes based on your power level with that element. There's the typical power-ups from doing special matches like 4 of a kind for plus shapes, etc. Where it starts to differ, your character also has an auto attack and can move around the arena. You also get items that give you different special abilities. These are fairly varied, but not atypical from what you'd normally see in match 3 games. Usually stuff like change tiles to a specific color, destroy all of one color, transform some gems into bombs, etc. This is all wrapped up in a typical roguelite gameplay loop. You go into the dungeon, get as far as you can, on death you lose everything. You unlock characters if you manage to clear a chapter and possibly other methods. I didn't unlock that many before doing this review, but the first 3 are the typical rogue, wizard, fighter, and play about as you'd expect. I love the rogue, who gets a free move action each turn and can teleport, which also lets you shuffle around the gems. Then there's the necromancer, who gets a free gem swap each turn, but is weak in melee. And the fighter, who gets a free attack, so doesn't always need to match gems. Also, throughout the run you level up, getting you more free actions. Most of the game is just what I would call fine. Enjoyable, but not something I'd come running back to. The bit that stood out to me, though, is the boss fights. The few I did had pretty cool mechanics, requiring you to mix movement with your abilities. For instance, the first was a turtle who summoned zappy trees and also did big attacks in a clockwise motion. You could also jump in mud on the ground, which stopped you from moving for a turn, but also gave you protection from one attack. When I did the fight, I found there wasn't really an optimal strategy to take each turn, which is a good thing, mind you. Sometimes you wanted to position yourself by mud. Sometimes you wanted to avoid the attack via movement. Sometimes you had to eat an attack in order to pull off a greed combo. I will say that I found later bosses you could usually just ignore the mechanics since you're so overpowered by then. I think that's more an issue I have with roguelites, like as a genre, rather than a specific game. Since this is the first video of the reboot, I did want to explain the grading system for indie games specifically. Basically, I didn't like using the same grading system for single dev projects of love that I end up using for AAA titles. It was kind of the cause of my indecision for so long. So the rankings are as follows, and I think most of it will be self-explanatory. To be clear, I love it or like it, and someone will love it or like it, should be considered the same grade. It's just there might be a game that didn't click with me, but I can tell it's a good game regardless. But without further ado, for Roguematch, I liked it. I had a fun time, the game is well made, but I also didn't find myself craving a return. I really tend to prefer a game with more new experiences, and most of this game ended up just being puzzles and dragons with a couple extra steps. In my opinion, the price is also a little high. I'd honestly expect $5 or $10 for something like this in the indie space. That said, it is a well-made game, and it has plenty of content, so maybe you'll disagree with me there. Well, that's about it. I don't really have a good outro for this. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you liked this format, and please check out the game if you're interested. And until next time, stay fresh.